I think that first and foremost, each person who complains that he or she has some grievances, first will be given a hearing. I'm glad that they have finally agreed and stated publicly that they've been having meetings with the elections committee. And so for them to have moved to the next level, that is the general secretary, is in place. They will be heard. Now, we are speaking along the same line. Positions, you know.
And system
the cross. Processes are there to come. They are too crime to be able to help us get a credible election. Now, you have transparency measures. A damn cruising said you'll be there, or be complaining, said, yes, it's in an answer, Bibisa. And Untina, Yama Womo delegates list over a month ago. Say, Babwa Womo. Now, Womo delegates no more call round a campaign. The second phase, they say, ye build the album under the initiatives of the national chairman and the general secretary. Said the album ye building is the way said obia obetua baby no picture ebedaso. So you have a responsibility as a voter to bring or to carry along your national ID card to come and for verification. Ansana yamwatwaba. Now all of these processes are to cure the complaints they are making. Say one, impersonation. When you have an album, you to cure that deficiencies. Number two, say Yama Womo delegates list near compiling an album will make sure that Obi Fa will be the Emetwaba. So and two, the album is exposing certain deficiencies on the register. Woman say encrophobi wa brancha or move to say Amasamai constituency. No be registered to say Adenta. Meanwhile, the rule stated that before you run for a branch election, you should come from that constituency. So those people will not be allowed to vote. It contravenes the regulation of the election. The provisions that regulates the election, as the election guidelines are. It is
originally say Amasaman.
Now
Twaba wa Amasaman. Na yakohu din
say a branch executive wa
Amasaman.
Exactly.
Yama
Twaba because it contravenes the regulation of the eligibility of a branch executive. So all of these inefficiencies are being exposed by the transparent measures are for the purposes of this election. Now, again, what they didn't state is that and now we are over 240 constituencies album but their letter didn't state that.
So Monsaka albums
when they gave you an uncompleted album, which we gave to all aspirants anyway. Yama assurance a committee that's why womu a generate album for the rest of the constituencies. Mind you, 275 constituencies are not going to vote. We are going to vote 275 minus 15. See, amount 240. Let's check the Akano. Entin kande womu wia womu sabeka enwumre yia womu ne election committee no ehia biem. So there is no difficulty or challenge as far as the processes are concerned that calls for a postponement of
elections. No.
If you have identified some minor discrepancies in the register, you will call for the attention of the committee and they will rectify same because it is your right, sir.
In the Monsaka letter we are na continue mo complaint no ma rectify new mo murizi no.
In the first place, there was no disagreement in the meeting with the elections committee. If there were disagreements there, then one will be speaking to the issues they have raised. They did not demonstrate disagreement at that committee.
Say be letter
way about. So the letter in itself apart from conveying their grievances, it's mischief.
A mischievous kakra.
Because 3 days ago, they were on team because and they have information. They have not come back to address the public. Say they have gotten 240 branches,
constituencies, voters register.
Yes, say amount more information. Where did they get the analysis from? That's the challenge we have.
Opinion in Sasha Krata we are seeing Ora Kukubor. Ewa homane soma yene no eni enkomo afe yentoa so. Mr. Kofi B Kukubor. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you speak up a bit for us, please. If
good afternoon.
Great. So I'm in the studios with your Deputy General Secretary. He tells us that really there is no cause for alarm because it seems all your issues have been addressed. True?
I'm not aware of any address of issues, so I'm a bit taken aback. How can issues be addressed where the person who raised the issue is not being informed that the issues have been addressed? So I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah, but they've furnished you with 240 constituencies, voters register from those constituencies. True?
Furnished with 220. They claim that it was 228 on our hard drive that we supplied to them since 29th March. So they claim they have put on that hard drive our 228 constituencies for the we have discovered that it's only 220. So I don't know where he's getting his facts from.
Okay, so when I check the date on your letter, so the letter was received on, I think, the 8th of May 2023. That's what I have on the copy I have here. Since that time, you claim you've not heard anything from the national officers or from the electoral committee?
Absolutely nothing.
They've not called you to a meeting?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
Yeah, no information.
So
nobody has informed them, nobody has called it, nobody has responded officially.
Okay.
Whether in terms of official document or verbal, to let us know that I'll be meeting tomorrow or any day. We are not aware.
For the benefit of our listeners, when you did your audit of the registers that were given to you, what were the issues, the specific issues you identified?
Oh, basically, he has already confirmed one in the register is incomplete. We are talking about 275 constituency. He himself admitted that the 275 is not there, so it's incomplete. And that is a fundamental issue. And for the irregularities is also one issue. But the voter register, as of today, he himself has admitted in your studio that they have submitted only 240, and I'm saying that it's 220. So that again establishes the fact that the register is not complete, and nobody goes to an election with an incomplete register. So he himself has admitted to that fact already.
Yeah, but the other thing is, he tells us that it's not all the constituencies that will be voting on Saturday. So about 15 constituencies will not be voting. So ab initio, you don't have to expect to have all the voters.
You as a public person, are you not surprised that they are not telling you that today? And what are the conditions that those 15 constituencies which the candidate, the stakeholder is not even aware of? And not even the public is not even aware of. So which constituencies?
You say your team is not aware that 15 constituencies will not be voting?
So this is the first time I'm hearing about it in your studio by him. So I don't know where. So this again is clearly establishing the fact that there are a lot of things wrong with the document that we've been given. I'm happy that he's exposing a lot of this activity. So he's only establishing the fact that whatever the reason why we are saying that the election should be postponed, he has come to confirm everything. That one, the register is not complete because it's mentioning 240 and 2 something. They're saying that the 15 are standing, 15 not going in, which we are not aware. And again, he has established the fact that the candidate is not being aware that 15. The only thing that we are aware of is the Mansha, which has an injunction. Their case is in court. That's the only conspiracy we are aware of. So if he is not in the studio, now telling the public that it's now 15 It clearly shows that whatever we are putting across is true.
But are the issues you identified and highlighted in your letter, are they that material to warrant the postponement of the election? Are there no issues that can be resolved within today or tomorrow?
With an incomplete register, how do you resolve incomplete register within today or tomorrow? Because one, if they come up, because they claim 228 was complete, which we took an appendix, only discovered that it's 220, and that 220 is fraught with irregularities and inaccuracies. Now that is yet to be resolved. So the other ones that they are saying is ready, are they also not fraught with irregularities and insecurity? Every register has to be verified first before being used as a base of for election. How are they doing the verification? Who's involved in the verification? The voters themselves are not being aware. Then the stakeholders are not being aware. So how is the verification done? And they are claiming that they have resolved the issue. I mean, this sort of fundamental question is to be asking him in the studio. Yeah. And what dates were those verifications done? By who? And by which community? By which voters? By which stakeholders?
Yeah, so we would ask him those questions. But my other question to you would be that, so since this whole process began, when you got to know of the composition of the electoral committee for these elections, how many meetings have you had?
If the 13 was completed, it was conducted between 27 to 29. Balloting took place on the 29th also. That is the only time we can say that we have a candidate that is qualified to put himself up as a flag bearer potential or aspirant. That should be so. On that 29th, they themselves said that immediately after successfully going through vetting, the voter register, the soft copy will be handed over. So on that day, we gave hard drive. Since then, we have never had any. I have to be chasing them with WhatsApp documents and all kinds of things. Then they call a meeting because we have to follow up again with another letter. Look, that we are not hearing anything. As stakeholders, we need to be involved. On the 2nd, so 17th, the first WhatsApp went. Then on the second official letter went. Then they called a meeting on the 4th. It was on the 4th that a soft copy, a partial voter register was handed to us on our hard drive, and that is also on the 4th. You can just imagine on the 4th, even the time that it's supposed to be mandated to give it to us has elapsed. So we did analysis. We said, look, one, the register is incomplete. The number that you told us that you are going to give us is not accurate. Now the register is fraught with irregularities and other things. So I don't know. That's on the 8th. We gave them that information. The information was given to us on the 4th. We responded on the 8th. That's it.
So meaning for the electoral committee, who is supposed to really take care of everything, all the processes leading up to this election, you've not met them more than twice?
Not more than twice.
Not more than twice?
Not more than twice.
Wow. And you are saying this for a fact?
Oh, I mean, they should come up with it.
Okay. So if the party decides to go ahead on 13th, which is this Saturday, what would you do?
We have already filed an injunction.
Oh, you filed the injunction?
Yeah, we filed.
Has it been granted?
We filed an injunction.
Yeah, I know you filed an injunction. I asked if it's been granted.
Well, we filed an injunction.
Okay, so meaning you are injuncting the whole process?
Well, we have only locus for presidential primaries. We don't have locus for parliamentary primaries.
Yeah, so you are injuncting the presidential primaries? Correct. But have you thought of the consequences, the repercussions and everything on your party?
The repercussion is to guarantee a free, fair, credible register. That's all. That's the repercussion. There's no other repercussion apart from a register that is full of integrity, that will ensure fairness and free election. That's all.
You don't believe the assurances he just gave that when you go through the register and you see someone who is not a member of a constituency, but whose name is on the register for that constituency, that person is not going to vote. You don't believe those assurances?
Were the same people allowed to vote at the constituency executive election? Were they allowed to vote at the regional conference? Were they allowed to vote at the national election? Ask him that question. Whether they were allowed to vote. You should answer that question. Because all those people talking about, they all voted in these 3 stages of election. So where is it coming from? All of a sudden.
Oh, they all voted even though they were not members of the constituency.
Because we know them and they have voted. They participated. They voted. They were executives since 4 years. They were elected first as branch executive, and the same branch executives that went to elect constituency executives, did they ban them or they voted? He should answer that question.
And your point is that these are guys who are not members of this constituency, but they voted in that constituency.
Ask him that question because we know that they voted.
Okay, so just hold on for me, if you may, Mustafa. When what from the horse's own mouth, not just in some people now kind. I say, no crow. Almost munchia.
That in the first place, say, one team now organized.
Team organized.
You started printing of ballot boxes. No Kukubor, no the agents buy.
Okay.
And yeah, printing
ballot papers.
Okay. No same team members efi nechi eba say da ben na print ballot papers. Ye di anigye chire do. Ye bisa awom wo eyi honum no. Omo say they report to Commander of Junior. Again, tama ye ma awom delegates list awom de campaign. Ono no obeje. Rojo esanso frey say of a delegates list. When you put these inconsistencies together and a campaign team that does not pay attention to party directives, and they would have known, say, we have stated that 15 constituencies will not partake in their parliamentary primaries.
You've told them that officially?
We've written letters. Letters are out.
Really?
Unim say, we are media. Unim say, 15 constituencies will not be having their parliamentary elections, but will vote for the presidential election. And Menshia South and partake in both parliamentary and the presidential because
court.
The issue not even in court. Okay. The issues there borders on.
Can I?
No. Just hold on. I'll bring you in. Please hold on. Let him finish.
The issues there borders on the eligibility of the branch executives there.
Okay.
So we decided that they would not.
Okay.
My colleague, my senior Barbara, signed that letter. Number 2, is he saying that yesterday he is not aware that his campaign team members met with the elections committee?
Enreya. Why was our meeting?
They say let him answer because you see, when ask him so fee meeting ho and de letter no about one thing. What were the discussions at the meeting? That their challenges were not addressed. That because they have identified irregularities and some few names, that we cannot correct those names and move on. So we should postpone the election. That when they were given that number of constituencies in terms of the album, they were not told that by the close of today they will have the remaining constituencies. So clearly there is mischief. But my caution is that let them not play with the resolve of the grassroots of the party.
Yeah, but the grassroots of the party would want to see fair, free and fair elections.
We have executives who are ensuring a credible, free and fair, transparent election. We have a campaign team that is looking for popularity they don't have. That is why this is happening.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's more concerns than germane as far as you are concerned.
If they are germane, they will be addressed.
Yeah, but so far, more address it.
It is not true.
Maybe Mr. Kukubor.
Yes.
In the said meeting yesterday, were you part?
I'm happy Mustafa Bande is exposing his ignorance and at the same time exposing some of the reasons why we have gone to court. A national executive in the name of Deputy General Secretary is on air telling a candidate that they do not have the popularity they think they have. That means a national executive who is supposed to be fair to serve as a EC to conduct free and fair election, but that very particular statement has taken a position declaring public on how do you call it radio, national radio, that candidate as a national secretary is supposed to be independent. Is saying that one candidate hasn't got the popularity, the vote. That is a clear bias statement. That clearly can be implied that all that we are fighting for, the national executives have done it deliberately because they feel one candidate has not got a popularity. So let's work the register for a particular candidate that has a popularity. That's the statement Mustafa Bande has just made on national radio. And how can I engage a person who is biased? So it therefore implies that everything is staying there is programmed and is telling lies. All the meetings, I have attended all the meetings. I attended yesterday's meeting.
So you were in yesterday's meeting.
Exactly, yesterday's meeting.
Yeah, but he tells us that from that.
Listen carefully. You must understand the purpose of yesterday's meeting.
Okay.
Yesterday's meeting purposely was to give us the remainder of the constituency for photo album, which they claim is 47. And now it was not delivered yesterday, and he said by close of today. Nobody has given us any information that by close of today. That again shows the inconsistency and unprepared nature of this election committee in going into 13th election. I mean, 13th May election. I mean, so you can clearly see the inconsistency and the unpreparedness by his own statement. He has come to expose a lot of things which to us is good for us. Now he's saying that our team, our campaign team is not organized. That's completely irrelevant. Among all the campaign teams, it is only Dr. Kobnadu first team that provided seal for the ballot papers. Our team have been there from day one to the end of the day until the ballot papers were sent to the custody of EC. So what is he talking about? If he doesn't know the fact, he should shut up. He's my younger brother. I do not expect him to come on national radio and be spewing lies. It doesn't fit him. He shouldn't confuse the grassroots. You see, when we say free and fair election, it's not only about the candidate. We're talking about those people who have the fundamental right to elect the person they want to represent them. So it's about grassroots. So you cannot be talking about grassroots.
Yeah, but the point...
Is presenting inaccurate and incomplete register for them, where people who are eligible will be removed from the register, and those who are not eligible will be put in the register. You are denying the grassroots their rights. So what is he talking about grassroots? Yeah,
but he makes the point quite forcefully that at the meeting yesterday, almost all your concerns were addressed, and you left.
Address how? That they removed that they gave us complete register.
Okay, so in that meeting, what happened? How come immediately after the meeting you issued this statement? What happened at the meeting?
Because I told you the primary purpose of yesterday's meeting is to give us the remainder of the 47 voter. This in actual fact is 55. Even that 47 was not handed to us. That was the primary purpose of yesterday's meeting.
But going into that meeting, did you have all the concerns that you highlighted in the letter? Did you put forward all those concerns to the electoral committee?
We submitted it to them, and they said, well, they cannot discuss it because it involves technical issues.
Oh, the committee told you that?
They said they cannot discuss. So they have to look at it and get back to us. And as I'm talking to you now, nobody has gotten back to us. So Mustafa Bande should go back and check his facts well before he comes on radio, public national radio, and start talking.
Yeah, but the meeting was yesterday. They promised to get back to you.
You are not getting the fundamental.
Okay.
Yesterday's meeting was to give us the remainder of the photo album for 47 constituencies.
Okay.
That also was not delivered. That was the primary purpose of yesterday's meeting. Nothing more than that.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we had the 220 on the 4th. We presented to them that one, the voter data is incomplete, and these are the inaccuracies. So why is it confusing that you? We gave them that yesterday. But the primary purpose of yesterday's meeting is to take custody or delivery of the remainder 47 they promised, and they could not deliver it. So what is the issue he's talking about? Why does he want to confuse the matter?
Okay, so now let me ask this direct question. So now, what exactly do you want? What do you want to see happen before you have this confidence in the process?
The base document of every election, whether national, political, is the voter register.
Okay.
And that voter register must be credible enough to guarantee free and fair election. That is all we are asking for.
So
nothing more than that.
How will the voters register become credible as far as you are concerned? What should be done?
That is why we are trying to hold a stakeholder meeting. Let's have a roadmap in cleaning the register. Because that's the only way we can let people who are voters verify their names in the register. Like, I'm there or I'm not there. Ask him whether they have done any verification across the country. Ask him. People are coming to vote on the 13th. They don't know whether their names are in there or not.
But if this is the same register that was used for the branch through constituency to regional to national elections, what is different about this one?
It's like saying that why are we not using the 1992 voter register for 2020 election?
No, but that's not the point. I mean,
that's the point.
No. The point
is that time has elapsed. So you cannot be talking about. We are talking about presidential election. We are talking about constituency and national election. Are they the same?
No, but the delegates who will be voting in the presidential elections.
We are saying that there are inaccuracies. Some of the delegates are not even on the voter register. That's what we are saying. And we have a duplication, plenty of them, with the same faces, the same features, different names, different ID numbers. We are saying that those are the problem we have. So go back and clean it. Let's all sit down. Let's help each other to clean the register, to make it credible, to guarantee free and fair. That's all.
No, my question was that are the delegates that would be voting on the 13th not a product of this same register?
And I'm saying that whether they are product or not, I'm saying there are inaccuracies and irregularities in the voter register. So whether that irregularity existed in the past, that's none of our business. We are now coming in as for presidential primaries. And we are saying that if in the past it was full of irregularities and inaccuracies and nobody queried it, we have the right to query it. So I cannot speak of the past because Dr. Koblan before didn't contest how do you call it, national chairman or general secretary or not. So that question you are asking is inconsequential to us. We are focused on presidential primaries. And we want the voter register that is meant for the presidential primaries to be credible. That's all. So those questions are irrelevant questions.
Okay. So you want a complete audit of the register as it is now. Until that is done, you don't think the election should happen, right?
We want a credible and complete voter register. That's all. Can you go to an election with incomplete voter register? I mean, how? Let's just assume that he is giving us the country incomplete voter register, riddled with inaccuracies and irregularities, and then you think Ghanaians will keep quiet. I mean, who does that, my brother?
Okay, very well. Mustafa, we are Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations for your party.
Yes.
Our concerns are quite clearly laid out. Almost say they want a credible voters register. What you've given them now ain't credible enough as far as they are concerned. Have a roundtable discussion of all the stakeholders and audit this register, and then it paves the way for the elections. As it stands now, there. I
mean, what was that? Kukubor, but one of the issues, I've tried as much as possible to explain the issues. But you see, when you overrate your popularity and yourself, you run yourself into avoidable social mistakes. And on the Kukubor challenge, when you tell your Deputy General Secretary is ignorant and you perceived to be the one who knows all, but you have never won a single election in your life. So I will not credit you that opportunity to discuss the matters. But I'm saying that in substance of the issues they have raised, that yesterday he's saying that they had a meeting and he was in the meeting. I want to believe that he himself have lost credibility with his own team to the extent that because we've seen in circumstances where he's taken frontal role in certain decisions, and we have members of his own campaign team coming back to ask for different questions. So that in itself raises credibility, but I'm not supposed to be addressing their campaign issues. The issues are that when you are given a quantity of registers, don't forget that this register is going to be decentralized.
Okay.
So we have each constituency, and the same delegates and the same delegates are going to vote for parliamentary and presidential.
Okay.
Did we give the same register to parliamentarians? Are they complaining? Are they talking about these irregularities he's talking about? The same set of delegates are going to elect a presidential candidate
and a
parliamentary candidate. Constituencies have taken delivery of their copies. Constituencies where we have had issues of some errors, those issues are being looked at and will be corrected, I think, by the close of today. A reason why an elections committee member will tell you, let us look at your complaint and revert to you, does not literally mean that they have not addressed your concerns. And so when you go into a meeting where you are sitting with papers and you are talking about issues that requires that one go into a system, you definitely get an answer of this sort. Let me cross-check with the IT team and get back to you. Now, when you have taken delivery of this quantity of registers, constituting about 80% of the registers we are going to use, and you come saying that you don't have information at all, then now, after being interviewed, in your letter, you haven't stated that you have received some registers and waiting for the others. You've titled your letter incomplete register.
Yes.
You have also failed to acknowledge or to indicate in your letter that there was a meeting in which you were present yesterday to address these issues.
Or say ENRA meeting was just a meeting purportedly to give to them the remaining registers.
I'm very reluctant to discuss issues in that meeting. Is he saying that there were not other issues discussed to address their concerns?
Yeah, as far as he's concerned, on can because say man discuss it.
That is not true.
Just a meeting and there was somebody that registered.
That is not true. I believe that the party will respond to.
But now was our meeting in movie.
Because of all these. Because of all these issues. I'm in charge of operation. But
he is speaking to issues in his personal knowledge.
He has not even acknowledged there was a meeting until I've stated it. He didn't acknowledge that. He was not honest enough to acknowledge that there was a meeting yesterday until I stated it and you asked him and he confirmed. You ask him what was discussed at the meeting. He says the purpose of the meeting was to receive, to take delivery. Yeah. So what was discussed is the same as to the purpose of a meeting. What was the purpose of a meeting is the same as what was discussed. This is the man who knows it all. If you are given an incomplete register and given the assurance that you receive the remaining maybe today, that means that is an irregularity in his logic. In my logic, it is not.
But how about the issues? Say, Nkofobidi were registered anymore, they don't have to be there. Now, Mufri said, was around the table. Now, cleaning up the register. That has not happened. Or more issue back on.
If you don't raise an issue, the election committee will not address. So if you found out that you have a challenge,
yes.
So for example, the issue that we have identified that when we started compiling the album, because we link the album, the data to EC's data.
Yes.
So we found out that some people have found their way to be branch executives, but they don't vote in that particular constituency, which is contrary to the guidelines of selecting branch executives. Yeah. So the effect is that those people will not be allowed to vote. When I sat here, I indicated that my boss himself will be holding a press conference to straighten some of the protocols into the election. All those issues were discussed at their meetings, election committee meetings. You can call any other representative of other contestants and see. So I'm surprised that he's taking this position and having the pageantry of positioning himself as the man who knows everything about election. I'm learning. Membership of the national executives, we are learning. But as far as this election is concerned, there are transparent measures put in place. to ensure that no one takes the process for granted.
Monsaka, any injunction notice from the court?
He has not even confirmed to you whether there's an granted or not.
Yeah, also more apply.
They are filed. Okay, so the court will determine that. And I'm saying that if they so wish, let them test the resolve of the masses of the party.
In court and away.
Let them,
because if they go to court, no Monsaka injunction.
Let them. We have. If you over pamper people, that is what happens. But let them test the resolve of the party.
Yeah, but
I'm not surprised that Kofi Kukubor, I'm not surprised Kofi Kukubor is attacking myself. This is the guy who attacks every elder in the party. He says everything he thinks to anybody. So me is my
but say you also attacked their campaign team. So we are disorganized.
I am just telling you that if you deal with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's campaign team,
yes,
if one person represents the team in a particular forum, there is consistency in their campaign team. We have had situation where Kofi Kukubor brought agents, and we had calls from their campaign team asking when a work that has already been done 4 days into completion, asking when we will start. How much information does he give his team? Is it not right to suspect that the team is not organized? That you've taken delivery of a delegates list. Subsequently, your team leader calls us to find out he's looking for a delegates list. Does it mean that you don't relay information to your team?
Okay, in this year, Monday, we party national officer. Where do we go from here?
Kofi Kukubor is attacking National Executive Committee and the party leadership and does not want any national executive to attack him or to attack their team. I can assure him that if he attacks the credibility of the office of the General Secretary, we will reply to them in the same measure.
Would that be the right thing to do?
That would be the right thing to people who want to be defiant and indisciplined. If you are a disciplined party member, there are processes that addresses issues. Just as he attended meeting yesterday and elected a discretion to himself to issue a letter that conceals fundamental information that you ought to tell the public, and you are refusing to tell the public. He failed to tell the public that he was in a meeting with the Electoral Committee yesterday. He failed to tell the public that they have taken delivery of about 80% of the albums that we are given.
Yes.
And let me state that the reason we gave them a delegates list is for them to know their delegates ahead of time. Who have they been campaigning to throughout the country? Who have they been meeting? The album is to further give transparent election, reducing impersonation. That is the purpose. And when we are doing this whole thing is a mischief, a malicious, calculated attempt to hold the party to ransom. Kukubor is one person who has the industry of running this kind of systems.
But one thing, Mr. Kukubor, so it seems the office of the General Secretary is ready for your team, and they tell us that if you don't stop attacking their integrity, they will also come at you forcefully.
I want to be extremely careful, because all that bandit did there was to attack my personality. And I think everybody who knows Kofi Kukubor, they should just point out one particular person in NG who Kofi Kukubor has insulted or attacked. He can't point it out. But that is some of them their game plan. So I will not engage in personality, because this issue does not concern me. So if you want to move away from the issues, that is their game plan. So go and raise other issues to discredit the person. So I'm not interested in that. Let me focus on the issue aspect. The issue aspect is that as we are talking today, at 4:43, almost 3 days to election on the 13th May, the voter register is not complete. And the candidate, Dr. Komland before, has not taken delivery of the full complement of the voters register. So any other issue about personal attack, threats, and trying to keep the sentiment of the grassroots, I mean, that's his business. I mean, we are not scared of those things. We are doing this not only for the benefit of the Dr. Komland before, but for the benefit of the grassroots. and for the future.
Yeah,
At any given time, if NDC or when NDC want to carry out election, it must meet all the fundamental requirements of making sure that whatever voter register that will be displayed on the day of election is credible, it is fair, and it is free. Period. If you want to go on a tangent to attack my personal integrity, Bande knows me very well. He knows that he's on the official post. I will not respond to it because I do not have any history in NDs that I have insulted any other. Who? Alaji Dusu, chairman of the Council of Health, the General Secretary, I didn't get there. Or Kofi Kukubor, my friend. So who is even including himself there? What is he talking about? You see, this diversionary tactic of shying away from the issue that should be addressed permanent to ensure credible register that will guarantee free and fair election. That is what Dr. Kobina Dufour's campaign team is focused about. As for personal attack, that is his cup of tea.
Yeah, but he makes the point that you guys seem to be underrating the mood of the grassroots of the party.
That is inciting, an attempt to incite the grassroots against people who are fighting for the grassroots.
But how is this a fight for the grassroots?
It's a psychological game. The grassroots believe and trust people that they put there as the national secretaries, regional secretaries, to do the right thing. It is a right conferred on them to represent the collective interest of the grassroots and the party. And we are saying that he's talking about 15 parliamentary elections that are suspended. We are not talking about parliamentary elections. You don't have any locus of parliamentary elections. Dr. Kobina Dufour is not campaigning as a parliamentary candidate. So that information also is talking about that. If you are not aware of 15 constituencies that will not carry out parliamentary elections, it's none of our business. Dr. Kobina Dufour is not a parliamentary candidate. He's a presidential candidate. So if individual voter register is given to parliamentary candidates, we are not interested in individual register. We are interested in the total national register because the presidential election, it covers the entire country. So let's demarcate the issues properly. So, you see, I don't want to engage diversity. Let's focus on the register. And that is it. Period. Finish.
Very well.
Any other issue is inconsequential. For example, more ugly is inconsequential. It doesn't have anything to do with the voter register. The concern is about voter register. So let's focus on that. Period.
Very well. So let me say a big thank you. And as you said, I mean, there is one thing you are looking out for, that you'll be called around the table and then iron out some of these issues, audit the register, make sure it is credible enough before the elections are held. For now, there is nothing like elections coming on this Saturday, right?
Well, I trust the judgment of our national executives. I believe they do the right thing.
Yeah, but you need to injunct. You need to injunct. Sure, you need to injunct them first. That injunction has not been granted.
Okay.
Very well. Let me thank you. We'll talk when need be.
You're
Okay.
most welcome.
Thank you. So, Kofi Kukubor, a research director, Emma Team Kobina Dufour, no sign letter Enra or the Koma Party no general secretary. Mustafa, finally, what you know, Mibusa said. What's the way forward? You see, Saturday, according to Monabatuane Baso, almost major stakeholders in this election, they don't seem to be very happy. What will happen from now?
Dr. Kobina Dufour is a major stakeholder in the election, not Kofi Kukubor.
Okay. I thought Kofi Kukubor Kasama Dr. Kobina Dufour.
That is entirely the responsibility of the candidate. We address candidates, not their campaign teams.
Okay.
And I'm saying that we are aware of inconsistencies in terms of correspondence with their own team in dealing with the elections issue. Number 3, we are in a position, as we have done in the past, we've given them unfettered access to the party and the machinery of the party.
Okay.
We've given them unfettered access to information relevant to their campaigns. And so we will do so any day, any time, if we are called upon. The leadership of the party, the general secretary, the national chairman, and any other national executive is in a position to help every candidate And so these issues that they have raised are not issues that will not be addressed or have not been addressed. The issue of registered borders on technical issues, which the election committee has assured that they will finish today. They should have a full complement of the voters register. 2 issues of minor irregularity. You just have to alert. You see, can force a triba kuna nyansa wom and as a niba a triba kuna weni. So if you see these things, these are minor things that can be corrected. But don't overrate the situation and create, non-existing imaginations out of it to the extent that you want to hold the whole party to ransom. And when I say it, he says I'm inciting.
Who incited grassroots? Not against them.
The grassroots is already outraged with their posturing.
How?
Their posturing is disloyal. Their posturing is anti-party conduct. Their posturing has the tendency of holding the party to ransom. And I'm saying that let them test the resolve of the party. Let them proceed. I want to.
But would they be right when they say it's based on ABR, monsomo body language, monsomo posturing, monsomo taking position in this election?
Kofi Kukubor and his like has the pageantry of, he says he's my senior brother.
Yes.
He's somebody I respect. If you put that respect aside and you want to sing mischief to the extent that you have to call me ignorant, when I know that you are not being intelligent with your positions that you are advancing, that I know that you are being mischievous from where I sit, I should be able to address him. I should be able to state that no national executive will sit down for the integrity of the body to be put into disrepute but by issues that are unfounded, issues that you have sat in a meeting to address and you have come out to say that you didn't attend a meeting only to be questioned, and you admit that the purpose of the meeting was to be given the remaining album. It's mischievous and unintelligent. Excuse my language to put it this way. No national executive, this election is at the behest of the general secretary. Do you want to attack the integrity of the general secretary that we want to rig election for somebody? And when I state that, don't overestimate your popularity. Then you say that I'm attacking your candidate. Perhaps if there were proper analysis of their popularity on the ground, they would know that the position you are advancing does not seek to resonate with
grassroots.
Yeah, it does not. It is strange. The same albums are given to members of parliament.
Yeah, but they are not contesting for members of parliament.
The members of parliament are concerned with who will vote them.
Yeah, but if they are not pointing it out, it doesn't stop them from pointing.
Of course, so I'm saying that so you'll understand that these errors that they have talked about are not fundamental to lead to a postponement of election. They are issues that are addressable.
Okay.
National leadership is there 24/7. We have put layers in place. Besides those of us, the deputies who are dealing with the day-to-day work, we have a technical body that is overseeing all these issues. Then we have the leadership itself, the general secretary, the national chairman, who are all sitting down and waiting for issues to come to them.
Now, address.
So if you have a concern like this and you run to the market, running the party to ransom, if you have written a letter yesterday, for all intents and purposes, because you haven't gotten a response today, you are in court. Do you have a good plan? What about those who are saying that there were meetings they have attended and planned that this is how they are going to go into the election? What about that?
To put an injunction on the
election.
Try
to it is not an injunction. They try to frustrate the party and frustrate the chances of the party being united going into 2024. What about those saying that? Should we accuse Kukubor and his likes for that? We are not, because we believe that we are the same people. National chairman has cautioned that we should not interfere in the process as national executives. We have our choices, but we are disciplined enough not to allow our choices influence the processes. So we have allowed technical committees of people who are experienced to lead the process. When Kukubor and himself and the likes of Rojo were in charge of election, were they attacked like this? Today they are disgruntled and packed themselves to undermine the party structure. Nobody will sit down and watch them and let them not start it at all.
Mate, Ma menase Gbande Bibiania Yebesia Dinkomobio. Why? We wish you very well. Why? Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary Edema NDC. Ekosiisen suni. Ehaya sempa